Today we're looking at how to change a pool pump motor, and then also in the process we're changing the the motor seal, or the shaft seal inside. So either of those, if you're trying to figure out how to change a motor or change just the shaft seal, you got to take everything apart to get to the shaft seal. That's one of the pieces, and then you're also going to change the shaft seal whenever you change a motor and replace it. Hi, this is Rich with Untitled Pools, coming to you from Bryan, College Station, Texas, specializing in keeping the pools clean and repairing the equipment. Okay, this is a Pentair Challenger pump, and so you're basically going to take the front housing and the back housing. There's usually some on the Pentairs, like a Challenger, they're going to have a clamp holding these pieces together. If it was a Whisper Flow, then you're going to have bolts holding this together. If it's a Hayward TriStar or Jandy Stealth, then you're going to have bolts holding these two pieces, the front housing up here and then the back housing. The back housing, or the seal plate here, is going to have the motor connected to it, and so you have to take these sections apart, usually taking some bolts out. For the Challenger, then it's just all held together with this clamp. So I unscrewed this locking piece, and then this clamp comes off, and I'll put this down here, and then this comes off. Obviously, you're going to make sure that all of the electricity the power is killed. I've already taken the electricity off of this one, so electricity is going to go into the back, and I've already pulled that out. When you're wiring a new motor back together, I won't be able to wire it back there and hold the phone and everything at the same time. But you're basically looking at an L1 and an L2. You can look right here, you see L1, and then over here you see where it says L2. And so the L1 and L2, if it's wired for a 240 volt motor, which most of the time they are for the in-ground pool pumps, then you're going to put one leg here and one leg here, and then you're going to attach your grounding wire, the ground wire, to right here. And then you'll have 120 and 120, that's your 240, and then your ground. So those are the ones that how you need to connect it. And then obviously you're going to use some sort of liquid tight elbow, and I'll show you that at the end, that's coming in here, so that the wires are not exposed. They need to be continually protected in the conduit, even the elbow here, to go in there and wire that together. Alright, so now let's talk about the front. You are going to have some sort of piece. This is the diffuser piece. So this, you're going to have some sort of piece, and this is your diffuser O-ring, and this channels the water. The water comes in here, the impeller is in here, and it's going to push it out through the top of the pump. So when you get this off, you're going to have some sort of impeller diffuser piece. It may be attached with bolts like this one, or it may not. The TriStars are. I don't remember on the Jandy Stealth, but anyway, then here's your impeller screw. Those are left-handed threads, so you're going to turn it in a tightening, or they're backwards threads. You're going to turn it in a tightening direction to get the impeller screw out. Okay, now I've got the diffuser off, and this is the impeller. This is what actually moves the water. You want to be able to take that off, and to hold, if you need to hold the impeller screw, the shaft, then you can, this is the back of the shaft, the motor shaft here. And then I'm usually able to take one hand here and then my other hand like this, and then you're going to loosen it in a normal loosening direction, counterclockwise, to get that off. If it's particularly tight, then sometimes you want to use what's called a strap wrench, like that there. You can get those at automotive stores, and it's a piece of rubber strap that goes around here, and that'll usually break it loose. If for some reason you can't get it with those, and you need to try to get some pliers or something, you have to be very careful trying to put some pliers on this, because it's just not very strong resin and it's kind of brittle. You can, if you try to clamp it on here, you'll break it. So just be aware of that. I've already loosened this one. I was able to get it with my hand, and then it's just going to continue to unscrew. So once you take the impeller off, then here's where your seal is. So your seal is going to be behind your impeller. If you're just replacing a shaft seal, then you just take the motor back housing apart, and then take your diffuser off, and then your impeller, and then here's going to be your shaft seal. So the front part of the seal is here, and then there's a second piece that's inside that's still on this side of the housing, but it just fits down in there in a little depression in this seal plate section, or mounting plate. And so you take this one off first. I'll show you the new seal in just a minute. Okay, this is basically the seal plate, or the back housing section. So I just put the new bottom part of the seal in there, and then you want to make sure that you have this oriented correctly. Like a lot of times the Pentair ones will have, it'll say top up here or something like that. This one doesn't have it. Man, I'm about to get rained on. It's starting to sprinkle on me. I see it does have arrows on this one, so it just be aware and pay attention to how you're orienting the motor on here. If you don't orient it correctly, obviously it'll be crooked whenever you try to put it back together. But then I press that in there using a paper towel, and then now you can you can lay it down like this, and then put the new motor with the shaft going through it. I'll show you that and then go ahead and attach those bolts, those 4 bolts, to attach it to the housing. Okay, now I've got the new motor attached to the housing with the 4 bolts, and then here's the new seal piece, and then there's your ceramic part, and so you want to put it down so that that white ceramic part is meeting the black ceramic piece as well, and it's just going to fit down over the shaft seal. I'm sorry, this is the shaft seal. So you're just going to fit it down on the shaft. There's a little rubber washer piece here. So you just want to push it down as good as you can, but it doesn't matter if you don't push it all the way. You see that there's a little spring section there, and then that's what it will give a little bit as you put the impeller on there. So next, you just push that in place, and then now you're ready to start putting the impeller on in a tightening direction. Okay, and then once you get it on there, then you do want to use a wrench to grab the shaft at the back. And I'll do that when I put the phone down, so that you just tighten this up. All you're doing is just tighten it by hand, good and snug. You don't have to try to wrench it down or anything real tight. You want to tighten it good and snug, and then you're going to secure your impeller screw back in there. And instead of going in the normal direction, they're reverse thread, so you're going to turn it this way to put that impeller screw back in there. And then again, just snug it up. That's all you're doing. You're not trying to really crank it down. You're just making it good and snug. That's it. And then you'll reinstall the diffuser back on here, noting what direction it goes on. And then those are the pieces. Now those are the pieces. Once you get that together, this whole back section is ready to fit back onto the pump, and then it's all sealed with the clamp. And make special note that all around the housing here, make sure this is good and clean. And then also, and you want to put some lube on here, Pool and Small lube. You can get it from like Leslie's or Magic Lube or something. Any kind of a lube. You want it real good and clean, and then lube it up real good all the way around this section, and then lube it all the way real good around this diffuser O-ring, so that those will go back together easily, and it'll seal easily around here. So I'll go ahead and put this together, and then I'll show you how. I'll show you the next step when I'm putting it back together. Okay, now I've put the Liquid-Tight elbow piece on here for the conduit, and then I ran the wires through, and then attached it to L1 and L2, and then because this one is a 240 volt motor, and it shows you that here 240 volts. So just make sure you're wiring it correctly. for the voltage that you currently have. If you have any questions about that, obviously contact a pool professional that is licensed to deal with pool pump motors electrically, like I am, and then or call an electrician. They can deal with this appropriately. L1 and L2 connected, ground wire connected, and then we're ready to go ahead and put the housings together. I already lubed up the housing on the other side of this housing, the seal plate, and then here's your gasket. If your gasket's worn out, then you want to replace that. This one looks good, so I'm going to clean it and then make sure. I already lubed up the housing, so I'm going to make sure I clean this and then lube this up as well. You're not going to put too much lube of the pool and spa lube. Here's the stuff I'm talking about, pool and spa lube. This is from Leslie's or Magic Lube. Either of those is going to help seal, make a good seal around here, the connection to the two housings, so that they don't leak. So I'll show you how to put it when it's put together here in just a second. You're going to put these pieces together, and then your clamp, as far as on the Challenger one, your two pieces of the housing are going to fit inside this clamp. You put the clamp here, start tightening it up, and then it'll make sure that these two pieces squish together onto the gasket and make a good seal. Okay, I put this two pieces together, put the clamp on, tightened it up. You want to get this really good and snug. I usually go until I can't tighten it anymore with my fingers, and then take a couple of turns with a wrench, grabbing onto this piece. That's just particularly for the Pentair ones that has the clamp. If you're using, you're putting together like a TriStar or Hayward one, then it's just bolts, so you just make them good and tight. Don't have to get to 7 foot-pounds or whatever, but just make sure you don't over tighten them, just good and snug. Once you finish the electrical, make sure you put the motor cover at the back, put that on. Last piece is, in Texas, it's required that the pool pumps motors are supposed to be bonded. This is a bonding wire, so if you don't have a bonding wire, one needs to be added, or if you have it, just make sure that you reconnect it to the new motor. And then you're ready. Go ahead and, since you had the pump housing apart, then fill up the pump basket, and then you are ready to go ahead and start the pump and reprime it, and you're off and running. And it's officially raining on me, so got to get out of here, get this started, and we're good. See you next time.